Big. Is Donald Trump secretly plotting a covert operation to seize Iran's enriched uranium before Tehran can move it beyond American reach? Shocking new details have emerged about what is being described as America's most sophisticated military operation ever prepared against Iran. Were 13 straight days of American strikes on Iran merely a distraction, while Washington quietly prepared its real objective behind the scenes? U.S. Special Operations Forces are reportedly standing by, ready to move the moment Donald Trump gives the final command. As missiles continue flying thick and fast between the United States and Iran, Donald Trump is reportedly preparing an entirely new military mission behind the scenes. Trump is reportedly weighing a high-risk special operations mission aimed at seizing Iran's stockpile of enriched uranium before it can be moved elsewhere. The stunning details of Trump's potential next operation against Iran were revealed in a report published by the New York Post on July 25. The proposed American operation would reportedly require thousands of troops to secure, occupy and control Iran's heavily fortified nuclear facilities. Among the primary targets on Washington's list are the strategic nuclear sites at Isfahan, Fordow and the deeply buried Pickax Mountain complex. Objective: seize and secure Iran's enriched uranium stockpiles before they can be relocated, concealed, or potentially weaponized. Mission type: a large-scale special operations raid supported by conventional military forces and extensive logistical coordination. Ground force: thousands of troops would reportedly be deployed to capture, secure, and hold multiple nuclear sites simultaneously. Primary tasks: clear access routes, breach fortified entrances, and neutralize explosive traps before specialist teams move inside. Special operations: elite units would spearhead the mission by locating, securing, and extracting sensitive nuclear material from underground facilities. Engineering support: military engineering teams would clear damaged structures, remove obstacles, and create safe access through heavily fortified complexes. Security: a layered defensive perimeter would be established around every captured site to repel counterattacks and protect the operation. Extraction: heavily guarded military convoys would transport the recovered nuclear material from the facilities to designated airfields for evacuation. Air requirement: the entire mission would depend on complete control of the air corridor to ensure uninterrupted troop movements and safe extraction. The proposed Special Operations Force would reportedly include SEAL Team SIXS Silver Squadron, along with the U.S. Army's 2nd Ranger Battalion. The U.S. Army's 21st Ordnance Company would reportedly be tasked with securing, handling, and transporting any enriched uranium recovered during the operation. However, the biggest challenge for the U.S. military would be carrying out such an operation deep inside Iran's hostile and heavily fortified nuclear complexes. Many of Iran's nuclear facilities are buried deep beneath mountains, making access extremely difficult even after sustained airstrikes. Recovering and securing highly enriched uranium would require extraordinary precision to prevent contamination, damage, or proliferation risks. American forces would have to conduct combat missions inside heavily defended hostile territory, while facing constant threats from Iranian troops. Military engineers could be forced to cut through collapsed tunnels and bomb-damaged entrances before reaching the underground facilities. U.S. personnel would need to hold captured nuclear sites for an extended period while repelling repeated Iranian counterattacks. Every phase of the operation would require carefully timed withdrawals before Iranian reinforcements could surround or overwhelm American forces. Moving sensitive nuclear material out of Iran would demand secure convoys, air cover, and strict safeguards against interception or sabotage. Iran is reportedly preparing for what it believes could be an imminent American assault on its highly sensitive nuclear installation at Isfahan. Reports claim explosive traps have already been positioned around the Isfahan complex, while heavily armed perimeter forces remain on constant alert. Meanwhile, Pickax Mountain has reportedly emerged as Washington's newest priority target because of the advanced nuclear centrifuges believed to be housed there. Tunnels beneath Pickax Mountain, a move that could significantly strengthen the protection of its sensitive nuclear infrastructure. The assessment is based on Israeli intelligence findings cited in a report by the Wall Street Journal, which details concerns over Iran's post-war nuclear activities. According to the report, Israeli officials shared their intelligence assessment on Pickax Mountain with the United States, warning that Iran may have relocated critical nuclear equipment. The reported transfer is believed to have taken place after coordinated U.S. and Israeli strikes targeted several of Iran's key nuclear facilities during the conflict. Those military operations focused on Iran's 3 principal nuclear sites during the June 2025 conflict, aiming to disrupt Tehran's uranium enrichment capabilities. Israeli officials believe the centrifuges that survived the strikes were later moved deep underground, where they would be far better protected from any future military attacks. Officials caution that the reported relocation does not necessarily indicate Iran has established a new underground enrichment facility, but rather reflects an effort to secure existing equipment. The equipment may instead have been placed inside hardened underground tunnels to shield it from possible future U.S. or Israeli airstrikes targeting Iran's nuclear program. The Wall Street Journal cited both Israeli and U.S. officials familiar with the intelligence assessment, although the findings have not been publicly released by either government. Iran has so far made no public comment on the reported relocation of centrifuges to Pickax Mountain or the intelligence claims outlined in the report. Donald Trump said Iran's Pickax Mountain could face what he described as a big fat shot near its main entrance. The remarks came as the United States and Iran remained locked in a fresh round of military escalation. Pickax Mountain is widely believed to house some of Iran's most heavily fortified nuclear-related facilities. The site was not targeted during Operation Midnight Hammer or Operation Epic Fury. Location: near Natanz in central Iran, close to the country's main nuclear infrastructure. Type: deep underground fortified military and nuclear-related complex built inside a mountain. Tunnel networks: reportedly consists of 2 major underground tunnel systems with multiple access points. Construction: satellite imagery suggests major excavation phases began around 2007 and expanded significantly after 2020. IAEA access: the International Atomic Energy Agency has not been granted access to inspect the underground site. Trump said U.S. space-based surveillance continues to closely monitor activity around the Pickax Mountain complex for any signs of movement. Analysts believe Iran may have transferred sensitive nuclear equipment and strategic assets into the deeply hardened underground facility. Experts said the mountain's extreme depth and fortified construction make it one of the most difficult military targets anywhere in Iran. Depth: built extremely deep beneath solid mountain rock to maximize protection from conventional strikes. Tunnel entrances: features multiple reinforced tunnel entrances that provide redundancy and operational flexibility. Protection: engineered to withstand powerful airstrikes and bunker-busting munitions. Layout: the internal tunnel network and facility layout remain largely unknown to outside observers. Intelligence: publicly available intelligence on the site structure and operations remains limited and unverified. Military analysts said U.S. planners could combine precision attacks on tunnel entrances with strikes on shallower underground access routes. Tunnel entrances: precision strikes aimed at sealing or destroying the main access points. Shallow passages: attacks focused on vulnerable underground sections located closer to the surface. Repeat strikes: multiple waves of attacks to prevent repairs and keep access routes blocked. ISR support: continuous intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance missions to monitor activity before and after strikes. Special forces: a ground raid remains a theoretical option but would involve extremely high operational risk. However, analysts said any military operation against Pickax Mountain would require extensive air support, intelligence assets, and major logistical planning. Experts added that the true purpose, scale, and current operational status of the underground complex remain publicly unconfirmed despite years of satellite monitoring. Iran's elite military forces have already warned that any attack on its nuclear facilities would trigger an immediate and devastating military response. The military headquarters says any American strike on Iran's nuclear facilities will trigger a much broader regional war. Iran's Khatam al-Anbiya central headquarters statement read, and I quote, "The criminal America threatened to attack Iran's nuclear and sensitive facilities. It is announced that should the terrorist army of that country enter such a phase, all interests of America, its allies, and the supporters of that rogue and evil country will be targeted by a powerful assault from Iran's armed forces." Unquote. The warning came shortly after President Donald Trump suggested the United States could launch strikes against Iran's Pickax Mountain nuclear complex.
Do you believe that Iran has moved nuclear centrifuges into Pickax Mountain? And when you say we're not done yet, what is left to finish?
Well, I think that they may have. We don't have it on record. All we do is read the fake news. You know, we see the news is so wrong so many times. So, you know, maybe this one they have right, but it's okay. it doesn't mean anything unless they have the material. You're talking about the centrifuges. Yeah, it doesn't mean anything unless they have the material. They don't have. We follow the material. That's where the action is, and we'll be hitting that area probably pretty soon. And there's not a thing they can do about it. Normally I wouldn't say that. If I thought they could do something about it, I would never say that. But we'll be hitting that area pretty soon, and very heavily. I'll be going to Dover for something that I feel it's a great honor for me to do it. These are people that want it, and they feel like I do, that Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. Very simple. It's a very simple dictum. They cannot have a nuclear weapon, and they won't have. They're not going to. They have no chance of having a nuclear weapon. And as far as Iran is concerned, I'll let Pete maybe say a couple of words, but we are doing very well. We are degrading them at levels that nobody thought was possible. They're being degraded really so seriously. They did slip something through in Jordan, and if we had other operators, would have not happened, unfortunately. But because we have the best equipment in the world, we've stopped almost everything. But when you let other people do your job, with the United States, we let other people do the job, and sometimes it doesn't work out so well. But we're going to be going and paying our respects at Dover. Pete, would you like to say just how we're doing, generally speaking?
Well, it'll be an honor as well to join you at Dover to recognize these incredible Americans who committed to the cause just like you are. Something no president's been willing to do. 47 years, they build up a conventional capability like the North Koreans did. Remember, that's how North Korea made their way to a bomb. So much weaponry that no one was willing to stand up to them. President Trump was, and it continues to this day. Iran's been given every opportunity to negotiate, to show that they're reasonable on the Strait of Hormuz. But if they're going to shoot at commercial shipping, then we're going to hit them, as the president said, 10 times harder.